There, welcome to my video on how to use Reddit for market research. If you're not familiar with Reddit, Reddit is like another internet forum built, doesn't matter how it's built, but it's just another internet forum kind of similar to Quora, but the idea is that it has a different tone, different spin, and it's really popular for its AMA, which is Ask Me Anything format. So I want to go over this great example of how there's lots of great information in a thread, depending on what you're interested in building your course around. So let's just say your idea is that you want to solve this problem of coding education and how to help programmers become more proficient in their skills. And so what the cool thing about Reddit is there's so many different Reddits. The best way to filter is just searching. I searched the word boot camps and then found a thread devoted all to boot camps in their programming Reddit group. And so I want to just sort of, for market research and market testing, find out what are the biggest challenges that people are experiencing with trying to find a job after going to a coding boot camp. And this thread, I just happened to find this thread, and this was a great example of the kind of rich information. It's not just the fact that there are 91 comments, but if you scroll through, there's a lot of humor, there's a lot of tongue-in-cheek, but there's also a lot of great, if you're a programmer and you understand what is going on, then you can kind of read between the lines to see what people are really having a conversation about. And this is where you can dig into the pain points of, what's the biggest challenge for people trying to get a job after a coding bootcamp? And you see some of the challenges are, people keep studying, they keep working hard, it's hard work, it's luck, and then you see people talking about, the way they are writing programming and their code is messy, their code is not optimized, and so you see a lot of good information that you could use to then build a course. Now then you can look further, and that there's a lot of great information and different contexts that you can use in a course about how to help programmers who are graduating from a bootcamp become more proficient in their skills. So you see one that says $60K for a coding bootcamp, and some people talk about location. A lot of people are talking about salary, healthcare costs. And then this one is really a great example. These two just show you that someone they hired right out of a boot camp had a title of apprenticeship. They didn't really give them a software engineer title. And so you can see really what they talked about, this case study about this person that they hired and why it was appropriate given their level of experience. And so if you see all this data, then you can be like, oh, okay, I see what the challenge is. People just need fundamentally more practice in their skills. They need someone to guide them on projects. They need to be able to work on teams. And that's the biggest problem for people who are graduating from boot camps is they've done all this stuff for 3 months, 6 months, but they're really in no way, shape, or form prepared to go out there and start, working on programs because they still have a lot to learn. They need a lot of guidance. And so you might then look at, there's another thing about resumes, and that it's all garbage, as people would say, unless there's real world experience. So you can see that really what people are looking for is when hiring coding bootcamp graduates, they're looking for solid experience. They're looking for a solid portfolio. And how do we help people build that? And so all this information is great. You can take notes from this and you can follow up with individual people on Reddit and start, asking people, hey, I see that the biggest challenge is that people don't have real world experience. Maybe you can follow up with them and say, well, what would you count as real world experience? Can you give me some examples? Or maybe you could try saying, well, would a hackathon be a great example? What did they build in a hackathon? What kind of projects are they working on an ongoing basis? And those are just examples of how you can market research and market test to find out whether this is clearly a problem, but is it enough of a problem but that someone is going to want to pay money for a solution? It depends on how badly it is a problem and how much of a problem it is for them to want to pay for a solution. Because you have to think about it this way. These are coders who've already invested $18K into a bootcamp, and they're looking to get their first job. Now, the first question is, do they want to, what are they thinking? Do I want to buy another course that's going to give me the same information that I've already been told in a boot camp? Or how can my product offer something that really solves the missing pieces that boot camps don't provide me? And so the goal is to look through all this great information on Reddit to see what you would want to focus your first course on. And maybe you realize that there are many different kinds of pain points in here that are too much to tackle in one course. And the best thing to do is just take one burning desire concept pain point in here and really focus on it. And that can be your first point of research, is to focus on that point and to build a course targeting those issues so that you can find out whether your market would pay for it. Because ultimately there are lots of pain points with coding, people trying to find a coding job, but you want to target the kinds of people who are willing to pay, or people who aren't afraid of investing in themselves. And so those are two things that I noticed in this Reddit thread that would be a great example of how you can conduct market research. So if you have any questions or comments, leave me a comment, leave me a question, and I'd love to address them for you. Thanks again.